Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
What is this? I just dragged this out of the closet and I have no idea what it is. Is it a blanket or is it a shawl or, oh, I know. I could be Little Red Riding Hood. Hello there. Welcome to Grandma Kitty's house. And I'm Grandma Kitty, of course. I was just trying to figure out what this was. I was cleaning a closet and I came across this. And I think it's a shawl, but I don't really know for sure. Who knows where I ever picked it up along the way? But, speaking of Little Red Riding Hood, I just read her story. I think I have the book here. I think that this is a fun story. You've probably heard that story before, right? Little Red Riding Hood? But look, I have a book about it. So why don't we read this together, all right? This is Little Red Riding Hood, and this is a version that was retold by Candace Ransom, and this one was illustrated by Tammy Lyon. Let's read that together, shall we? Little Red Riding Hood. A long time ago, there lived a sweet little girl who was thoughtful and kind and loved to visit her grandmother. Her grandmother enjoyed the visit so much that she gave the little girl a special present. I bet we can figure out what that is, huh? She sold the girl a wool cape with a hood. It was the girl's favorite color, a wonderful cherry red. The girl liked her cape so much that she wore it everywhere. First, she wore it to the village store. Then she wore it to visit her cousins on the other side of the village. She even wore her cape to bed. Soon everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. And there she is sleeping in bed with her red cape on. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Your grandmother isn't feeling well." "I'll go visit her," said Little Red Riding Hood, "and I'll take a picnic." "What a good idea," said Little Red Riding Hood's mother, "and be sure to stay on the path through the woods." Little Red Riding Hood promised that she would, and she packed a basket with her grandmother's favorite foods and set off. That was nice of her to bring a lunch for Grandma. Little Red Riding Hood skipped down the long, winding path as she always did on her visits, and she was very careful to always stay on the path. After a while, she met a wolf. There he is, leaning up against the tree. "Hello," said the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood knew she shouldn't talk to the wolf, but he seemed friendly. "Hello," she said. "Where are you going on this fine day, little girl?" asked the wolf. "I'm going to visit my grandmother," said Little Red Riding Hood. "She isn't feeling well, so I'm bringing her this picnic with her favorite foods." "And where does your grandmother live?" asked the wolf. "At the end of this path." A sly grin came over the wolf's face. He knew that if he ran up the hill, he'd get to Grandmother's house before Little Red Riding Hood. "I'll gobble up the old lady and the little girl," he thought, smacking his lips, "and I'll gobble up that tasty picnic, too." He's got some bad plans for Little Red Riding Hood. "Look at all the flowers growing in the woods," said the crafty wolf. "Why don't you pick some for your grandmother? Pretty flowers will make her feel even better." "Good idea," said Little Red Riding Hood. The prettiest flowers were far from the path, but Little Red Riding Hood thought that it would be all right to leave the path just this once. When she turned to pick some flowers, the wolf ran straight to Grandmother's house. The door was unlocked, so the wolf opened it quietly and crept inside. He tiptoed into the grandmother's bedroom and found her asleep in bed. Suddenly she woke up. When she saw the wolf, she screamed. "Help! Help!" cried Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother. Oh, dear. The wolf grabbed her, pushed her into the closet, and locked the door. "Be quiet," he said, "or I'll gobble you up now instead of later." He's not very friendly, is he? The wolf quickly put on a nightgown and a cap. He hopped into bed and pulled the covers up to his hairy chin. At that moment, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the front door. "Grandmother," she called. "Come in, my dear," said the wolf in a high voice. Little Red Riding Hood went into the bedroom. She stared at her grandmother lying in bed. Her grandmother looked very strange, and Little Red Riding Hood was afraid. "Grandmother, what big ears you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to see you with, my dear," said the wolf. "Grandmother, what big hands you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to hug you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what big teeth you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to eat you with," cried the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood screamed. This was not her grandmother, it was the wolf. Suddenly the wolf sprang out of bed. He tried to grab Little Red Riding Hood, but she leaped away, light as a leaf in her cherry red cape. The wolf grabbed thin air instead. With a yelp, the wolf tumbled out the window and rolled head over heels down the hill. He was never seen again. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother pounded on the closet door. Little Red Riding Hood let her out, and they hugged as tightly as they could. "Thank goodness that's over with," said her grandmother. "What happened?" "Mother said you were sick," said Little Red Riding Hood, "so I brought you a picnic lunch, but I left the path to pick flowers." "Well, I think you've learned your lesson," said her grandmother. "I'm just glad we're both safe." Then Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother sat down and enjoyed their visit together. It was the best one they'd ever had. Oh, how'd you like that story? You've heard that before, huh? The story of Little Red Riding Hood? Yeah, when I think of the story of Little Red Riding Hood, I think all the way back to kindergarten, which was a very long time ago. And we watched the movie in kindergarten, and when it got to the part where he said, "The better to eat you with," we all screamed. And the teacher didn't think it was funny. She made us go sit in the hallway. My goodness, we were just little. But anyway, I thought today we could talk about the story of Little Red Riding Hood. It's a very old story, much older than Grandma Kitty. Was that's pretty old? Well, thank you for that comment. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with being old, except that you can't remember good anymore, and everything aches, and it's kind of hard to get out of bed in the morning. But anyway, no, let me tell you, this story, some say that it goes back to Aesop's Fables. Have you ever heard of Aesop's Fables? Do you know who Aesop was? Oh, well, Aesop, however you want to pronounce it, he lived back in BC. Now, we live in 2022, which means 2022 years ago they changed the calendar to AD, and before that it was BC. So if Aesop lived in BC, well, that means he lived a very long time ago. Yeah, but he was a very intelligent man, and he some of the things he said and told about are still around. So he was a Greek storyteller, and he wrote over 600 fables. Yeah, do you know what a fable is? It's like a short story that teaches a lesson, something that we can learn from it. So he usually wrote about animals like the ant and the grasshopper, or the swallow and the crow, and the most popular one was the hare and the tortoise. Have you heard that one before, where the hare or the rabbit thought he would definitely win the race because he's much faster than a tortoise or a turtle? But do you remember he laid down and took a nap, and the turtle, he just kept going and he ended up winning the race? Yeah. So anyway, some people think that Little Red Riding Hood may date back all the way to his time and be one of his fables. But the first recorded one was in the 1700s, and that was written by a French writer named Charles Perrault. And his version did not have a happy ending. No. In his version, Little Red Riding Hood actually got eaten by the wolf. Yuck. I prefer happy endings, don't you? Yeah. Well, then, fortunately, over 100 years later, Brothers Grimm rewrote the story, and they changed the ending, and they added a woodsman, and he was cutting wood in the area, and he came to rescue Little Red Riding Hood. Now, our version didn't have the woodsman, did it? No, the wolf just kind of rolled out the window instead. But, there's almost 60 versions of Little Red Riding Hood, and some have sad endings, and some have happy endings, and some the woodsman saves her, and some Little Red Riding Hood manages to save herself. Yeah, but lots of different versions. Yeah, so, but like the fables, we can learn something from Little Red Riding Hood. So what can we learn from Little Red Riding Hood? That she liked to wear a red cape. Yes, that is true. That's how she got her name, right? Yeah. And she liked to visit her grandmother. Yes, that was very nice of her. Do you like to visit your grandmother? Oh, grandmothers just love to have their grandchildren come visit. But, there was a time when my grandson did not want to come visit me. Oh, my goodness, he would throw quite a fit if he had to come to my house. Do you know how that made me feel? Oh, terrible. Absolutely awful. Yeah, because grandmothers want their grandchildren to enjoy coming to their house. And I mean, it's supposed to be a fun event where grandmothers spend time with them and do fun things with them. But he would have a fit when he had to come. Was that? Maybe he thought I was the big bad wolf? Do I look like the big bad wolf? I mean, do I have a big nose and big ears and sharp teeth? I hope I don't look like the big bad wolf. No, I think it was just a phase he was going through. Yeah, but he got over it, and he enjoys coming to my house now. But back to Little Red Riding Hood. What was she bringing to Grandma? She was bringing her some goodies, wasn't she? Yeah, that was very thoughtful of her. I mean, she didn't go to Grandma's house and say, "Hey, Grandma, I'm here. What do you have for me? Did you bake me some cookies or something?" No, she didn't do that. Instead, she brought something for Grandma, didn't she? Yeah, she was a very thoughtful girl. Yeah. And another thing we learned is that she liked to walk in the woods, right? We talked about that, but she went alone, didn't she? Yeah, and you really shouldn't go walking in the woods alone. No, because it's not safe. You might fall and get hurt. Yeah. And then she talked to the wolf. He was a stranger, wasn't he? Yeah. She probably shouldn't talk to strangers. If you don't know who they are, strangers aren't always friendly people. Yeah. She found out that the wolf couldn't be trusted, didn't she? Yeah. She thought he seemed friendly and nice, right? I mean, he was being friendly and polite to her, right? But he really had some bad thoughts going on, huh? Because he was thinking about eating her. Yeah, so she found out that you can't always trust strangers. She found out that you need to be more careful around strangers. And she also left the path, right? Mom told her to stay on the path, and she left the path, didn't she? Now, what's it called when you don't do what your parents say? What's that? Naughty? Yeah, I guess we could call it naughty. Yeah, I guess it would be naughty if your parents tell you not to do something and you go do it anyway. Yeah, but the word I was looking for was disobeying. She disobeyed her mother and left the path. Yeah, and that can get you into a lot of trouble, can it? Yeah, you could end up in timeout or your bedroom or something worse. Yeah. So basically she taught us to listen to our parents and not to talk to strangers, because you can't always trust strangers. Right? Yeah, and she taught us to be loving and kind and thoughtful about other people, like she was for her grandmother, right? She was thoughtful and kind and brought her some goodies. Yeah. So, well, I think that it is time to move on to Move and Groove. Yeah, because I brought the song "I Will Not Be Afraid," and Little Red Riding Hood, she was scared when she saw the wolf, right, and realized it wasn't Grandma, but she didn't let her fear keep her from protecting herself, right? She did what she could to protect herself. So remember that our hearts were made to beat, and so we need to move around and get exercise and make our hearts happy. So hop up off that couch and join me while we do Move and Groove. All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, here we go. I will not be afraid, no troubles out there, night and day. No, I will not be filled with fear, since God is always, yeah, I know He's always All right, how did you do? Did you get up and move and groove and get some exercise? All right, let's check our bee bag and see what we have. Now remember that our bee bag are the things we want to be. So, I think we've done this one before. This one looks familiar. Look, it says, be safe. Oh, that's very important. That's an important B, isn't it? Yeah. So let's talk about some ways that we can be safe and protect ourselves. So I've got two baskets here. I've got one that says safe and one that says dangerous, okay? And I'm going to tell you a situation and you tell me whether you think it's a safe thing to do or dangerous. So how about when you get in the car, if you always wear your seatbelt? Is that a safe thing to do? That is a safe thing, yes, because you never know when you're going to have an accident. An accident is something that is not planned, and it could happen at any time. So wearing your seatbelt is a very safe thing to do. Oh, how about this? Running with a lollipop or something in your mouth. Yeah, you know, you get a lollipop and you run with it, and is that a safe thing to do? No, because you know, if you fell and you landed on that lollipop, it could drive it right down your throat and then you wouldn't be able to breathe good. That would be very dangerous. So, right, that is dangerous. We will put that one right in the dangerous basket. Oh, how about making sure that mom and dad know where you are? Like, say your friend invites you over after school and you just go to your friend's house after school and you don't tell mom or dad where you are. Is that a safe thing? No, you don't want to do that, right? So if you always make sure you tell mom and dad where you are, yes, that would be a safe thing to do. We'll put that in a safe basket. Oh, how about doing a dare from a friend? Okay, so say you're on the swing and you're going really high on the swing and your friend says to you, I dare you to jump off there. Should you do it? Oh, no. Oh, no, you could break your leg or something worse. Yeah, what's that? But your friend dared you to do it? Yeah, but who's going to get hurt? If you jump off that swing, who's going to get hurt? You or your friend who's standing safely on the ground? You would be the one that got hurt, right? So if your friend dares you to do something that's not safe, just tell them, no, I'm not going to do that because that would be dangerous. Yeah, so we'll put this right in the dangerous basket because we don't want to do dangerous things, right? Oh, how about putting your skateboard away when you're done playing with it? All right, so say you're out in the yard and you were riding your skateboard and you left it there in the middle of the driveway, and mom comes home and she's got a whole armful of groceries and she doesn't see your skateboard and she steps on it. What's going to happen? It's going to take off, right? And she's going to fall and those groceries are going to go everywhere. Yeah, that would be a dangerous thing to do, wouldn't it? Leave your toys out where people might step on them or trip over them. Yeah. So if you put them away, that would be a safe thing to do. We'll put that one in the safe basket. Oh, this one's an important one. How about taking medication that isn't yours? Is that a safe thing to do? Not at all. That's very dangerous, isn't it? Yeah, your mom and dad know what, or your grandparents, people that you trust, they know if you're supposed to take medication that your doctor prescribes. And if it's not your medication, don't ever take it. My grandson did one time, and he ended up in the hospital for about a week. He was a very sick boy. So don't ever take medication that's not yours. That would be very dangerous, right? Yeah, we'll put that right in the dangerous basket. Oh, staying with your parents when you're in a public place. Do you know what a public place is? That's anytime you're away from home, like the grocery store or the playground, Walmart, McDonald's, any place like that. So if you run off on mom and dad when you're out in public, would that be safe? No, not at all, right? Because then they won't know where you are. You might get lost or someone might steal you or kidnap you. Yeah, so when you're out in public, you want to stay with mom and dad. So if you stay with mom and dad, that would be safe. That's right. That would be a safe thing to do. Oh, putting something in your mouth if you're not sure what it is, right? Like if you see something laying around and you think it might be a candy, but you're not sure, or you're outside and you see something that you think might be a berry that might be okay to pick and eat. Should you do it? No, no, not at all. That would be dangerous because you don't know. It may not be candy or it may not be a berry that's okay to eat. No, so you should never put anything in your mouth if you're not sure what it is. You should always ask mom or dad. So putting something in your mouth would be dangerous, right? Yeah, you have to ask mom or dad. Oh, telling strangers where you live, yeah, that's not good. What did Little Red Riding Hood do? She told the wolf where she was going, and then he went there and waited for her, right? Yeah. So telling strangers where you live, that wouldn't be safe, right? Because then they know where you live, and they might come kidnap you or something. Yeah. So you should never talk to strangers unless mom or dad are with you, and they say it's okay because they know the person. So that would be dangerous, right? Yeah. Oh, staying on the sidewalk when you go for a walk. Yeah, that would be safe, wouldn't it? Yeah, because if you get too close to the road or in the road, that would be dangerous. But if you stay on the sidewalk, that would be safe. Yeah. All right. So you know what? Oh, how about this one? One more. Going someplace with someone you don't know. Like if you see somebody and they say, "Hey, I know your mom and dad," and they said it's okay if I give you a ride home. Should you get in the car with them? No, never, never, because some strangers are bad people, yeah, and you got to be careful. So you don't want to do that. That would be dangerous to go someplace with someone you don't know. Yeah, so, oh, lots of ways that we can keep ourselves safe, huh? Yeah, there's this thing called stranger danger, and some strangers are dangerous. Not all of them. Some strangers are just people we have never met, and they're friendly and nice, but some strangers are bad people that have bad thoughts and want to do bad things. So you need to be safe. You need to be careful and protect yourself from them. Yeah, so I think we learned a lot today, didn't we? We learned that if you go for a walk in the woods, you might find a wolf, right? Like Little Red Riding Hood did, but I hope not. But even if you did, he's not going to talk to you and he's not going to race ahead to grandmother's house and wait for you there, huh? Because it was just a story. Yeah, kind of like a fable. Do you remember what a fable was? It's a story with a lesson we can learn from it, right? Yeah. And who wrote over 600 fables? Aesop. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So we've learned a lot today. We learned that you don't want to go in the woods alone, right? And never talk to strangers unless mom and dad are with you and they say it's okay. And never tell people where you live, right? Yeah, because you don't know whether you could trust them or not. Yeah. Now, what are some ways to keep yourself safe? Right? Look both ways before you cross the road. Stay on the sidewalk. Very good. Yeah. Stay with mom and dad when you're in public places, yeah, and that way you won't get kidnapped or lost, right? Yeah, because getting lost would be very scary, wouldn't it? Yeah, and don't take medication that isn't yours. Very good. That's important. Yeah, put your toys away so nobody trips over them. Always wear your seatbelt. Oh, you guys did a good job. You have such good memories. I'm so proud of you. Well, you have learned a lot today about how to keep yourself safe. Yeah. So, I think that I'm going to put my red cape or whatever it is back in the closet and go for a walk in the woods. But I hope I don't bump into the big bad wolves out there that want to eat me. That wouldn't be good. Oh, well, you take care. You stay healthy, safe, and happy. And Grandma Kitty will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.